have a question, and this came over, and I'll show the question on the screen so everyone can see it. This question actually came from someone on LinkedIn, and he asked, if you have a view, and you just mentioned a cheap option, maybe in PayPal, look for something. If you have a view, why options? Why the delta haircut was the question. I don't know if that's something you want to ask.
So, the reason we use options, one is solely for the leverage perspective. I mean, I'm not going to cherry pick. The higher the stock, obviously, the better advantage you have. It's one thing if you're looking at a $5 stock. Yeah, I'm going to be playing the stock, right? It's kind of, to me, it's like an option anyway. But if I get into take Coin, for example, Coinbase, you're trading at $300 in terms of Coinbase. And I can go out in time, right? If you're you have a longer term opinion, and I have the ability to jump into an option that I have a longer term opinion on. Personally, I don't care about dividends at all. Dividends are irrelevant to me because I can sell premium and make up those dividends very, very quickly. So something that Coinbase doesn't have dividends, I don't have to worry about that. But let's just take Coinbase as an example. If you look at the price, and for me to buy this, how expensive that would be. Okay. Now, if I go to my options and say, all right, I have a $300 stock, obviously you can say, if I want to buy 100 shares, it's going to be pretty expensive, right? It's going to hurt. Now, if I go to look at the options and say, how long do I think I'm going to be in this? I'm going to say if it's a year, or it's, I can go out further if I wanted to, but let's just minimize some of these and just say, let's go out. Let's say, let's give ourselves a year. We're in, let's say August of next year, 2026. And just do a quick comparison. Now, what I'll do is I look for an in-the-money option. So I'm looking at something that has a higher delta. And what I'll do is I'm looking at this as a stock replacement. So the higher delta, I'm not using it for a short term. I'm using it for longer term. And my belief is it's going to continue to go up. So I want a larger amount of delta. And then I want to be able to roll my option. So me rolling my option allows me to keep my premium somewhat the same while I'm extracting money out of it. And that's something you can't do in the stock. You can sell some of your shares, but I can stay in. Let's say I want to buy a 10 lot and I'm only spending, let's say, what are we at delta wise? So delta, here's an 80 delta down here for $142, right? $142 versus 300. I'm getting the stock for half the price, right? The most I can lose is $142, whereas the stock, I can go down. Am I going to lose it all? Probably not. But this gives me the flexibility. If I get a move up $10, $15, $20 and I want to lock it in, I can roll my option up and continue to do that in the same expiration and basically keep setting higher and higher watermarks. As I start to lose confidence in the stock, let's say I have a phenomenal run, it goes to 500 and I think it's starting to top out. Well, what can I do? I just keep rolling up. At some point I say, you know what? I can go to the at the monies, or I can go to the out of the monies, and think about how much less exposure I have then. Even if we stay roughly the same in terms of the delta, and say I roll up and I move up to a 50 delta, just looking at it from here to here, right? I'm cutting my option almost in half. So versus being in a $300 stock, I can capture 80 to 85% of the potential move without having the capital and being able to roll my options to lock in my profit along the way, right? Allows me much more flexibility. And let's think about it the other way. If I'm able to get into options for half the price, I may want to do twice as much. If I'm willing to risk the $30,000, I may do two of these versus what I'm doing in one of the other way. Or maybe I want to go with a 60 delta option and I can buy almost three of them. So if you really believe in what's going on, the multiple different ways to leverage that position really plays into using options versus just being in stock. Now, again, I'm cherry picking with a higher price stock, but we kind of talked about that earlier. Like, again, maybe on the cheaper side, maybe you do just want to own the stock because it's dirt cheap and you don't need to own the options. But even on still something like that, let's just pick like an Intel, right? Intel, the options are, it's a 20, what is it, $21, $22 right now? It's $20. So you say, okay, I'm going out and I want to look at something that is out in 2026, versus me, what do we say, September and the other ones? So versus me being in a $20, risking $20, I can risk for a slightly in the money here, and it's guess I don't have many options. I can get to the 13s. That's going to give me a delta of 90. I can get to 85. I can get a 75. I'm risking $6. So $6 to hold the stock and control the stock. I can control the stock through that $6 versus being in it for 20. The most I can lose is 6. Now, if something catastrophic happens with Intel, the most I lose is 6 versus someone who's in there and it gets cut in half for whatever reason. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that would be the couple of reasons that I would be looking at options over stock.